Alex Jones here with an important note to our viewing, listening, and reading audiences. I'm going to read to you from a statement that's also posted to InfoWars.com that I wrote yesterday. Last fall, before the presidential election, a large number of media outlets began reporting on allegations arising from emails released by WikiLeaks that appeared to come from John Podesta, who served President Clinton and Obama and was the chairman of Hillary Clinton's presidential campaign. Dozens of those stories and articles raised or discussed theories that some of Podesta's emails contained code words for human trafficking and/or pedophilia. Stories also included allegations connecting members of the Democratic Party with a number of restaurants allegedly involved with a child sex ring. These stories were cited and discussed in social media and went viral on the internet. One of the persons mentioned in many of the stories in the media was a Washington, D.C. restaurant owner named James Alefantis and his pizza restaurant, Comet Ping Pong. It is fair to say that Mr. Alefantis is a prominent individual who has been mentioned as a power player in Washington. Mr. Alefantis and his restaurant were mentioned in many stories published by a lot of different outlets. Mr. Alefantis was quoted in many subsequent stories, and he denied any involvement in such reported child sex rings. These denials were reported in the national media and many other outlets and news websites. The volume of stories was substantial, generating national headlines and came to be known across the country as Pizzagate. We at InfoWars became part of that national discussion. We broadcast commentary about the allegations and the theory that the emails contained code words. We raised questions about information in Mr. Podesta's emails and in the Comet Ping Pong restaurant. We believed at the time that further investigation was necessary. In December of 2016, we disassociated ourselves from the Pizzagate claims and theories, a position we reiterated last month after being contacted by Mr. Alefantis. In late February of 2017, we received a letter from Mr. Alefantis asking that we retract certain statements that he says were made in 7 of our broadcasts between the last week of November and the first week of December in 2016. We have attempted through our lawyers to contact Mr. Alefantis to discuss with him what sort of statement he would like to see made. In our commentary about what had become known as Pizzagate, I made comments about Mr. Alefantis that in hindsight I regret and for which I apologize to him. We were participating in a discussion that was being written about by scores of media outlets in one of the most hotly contested and disputed political environments our country has ever seen. We relied on third-party accounts of alleged activities and conduct at the restaurant. We also relied on accounts of reporters who were no longer with us. This was an ever-evolving story, which had a huge amount of commentary about it across many, many media outlets. As I have said before, what became a heightened focus on Mr. Alefantis and Comet Ping Pong by many media outlets was not appropriate. To my knowledge today, neither Mr. Alefantis nor his restaurant, Comet Ping Pong, were involved in any human trafficking, as was part of the theories about Pizzagate that were being written about in the media outlets and which we commented upon. I want our viewers and listeners to know that we regret any negative impact our commentaries may have had on Mr. Alefantis, Comet Ping Pong, or its employees. We apologize to the extent our commentaries could be considered as negative statements about Mr. Alefantis or Comet Ping Pong, and we hope that anyone else involved in commenting on Pizzagate will do the same thing. Here's what we've done to clarify to the public. Months ago, we took down the majority of broadcasts and videos, including ones that only passingly mentioned Pizzagate. This happened months before we were even contacted by Mr. Alefantis. Mr. Alefantis objected to portions of 7 particular radio/TV broadcasts. We have taken down those 7 broadcasts, and we have attempted to take down any broadcast that mentioned Mr. Alefantis or Comet Ping Pong. We have attempted to do so not just on our website, but also on social media sites such as our YouTube channel. If Mr. Alefantis has any other objections, we invite him to let us know. 2 reporters who used to be associated with us are no longer with us. In a recent broadcast, I invited Mr. Alefantis on our program to state what he wanted to, and I again do so here. He has given interviews to many media outlets, and he is welcome to come on our show. In issuing this statement, we are not admitting that Mr. Alifanis or his restaurants have any legal claim. We do not believe they do. But we are issuing this statement because we believe it's the right thing to do. It will be no surprise to you that we will fight for children across America. But the Pizzagate narrative, as least as concerning Mr. Alifanis and Comet Ping Pong, we have subsequently determined was based upon what we now believe was an incorrect narrative. Despite the fact that we were far from the genesis of this story, it is never easy to admit when your commentaries are based on inaccurate information. But we feel like we owe it to you, the listeners, viewers, and supporters to make that statement and to give an apology to you and Mr. Alifanis when we do. We encourage you to hold us accountable because we improve when you do.